Sunnyvale, California, and I brought my two sons with me, John and Stuart. So John is right here. John's down. And he's a musician and an artist. And then this is Stuart, my younger son. And he repairs laser printers for on computers. And so that's a start. What Carrie's going to do, she said, is walk around with a camera so we can go down this way, tell who you are, where you came from, how far you traveled to get here, or whatever you want to say. So thank you, Carrie.
Okay.
Okay, I'm Tom, Dad's number 5 son. I'm a cabbie. Alameda, California. This is my son, Seth, number 2 son. He works for Kelly Moore Paints down in Santa Cruz, California.
Are you married, sir?
No.
All right. All the girls.
I'm Randy. I'm from Brearton, kind of by marriage. I'm married Mike Brearton, and I'm from Florida. Work in a restaurant, and I go to school. She's not good at admitting who the hell she is.
I didn't came too far. I staggered out here from Morrison about 6 o'clock this morning. I'm number 3 son. 4 son, what is it? 4 again. My wife Linda. And I have a daughter here, right here, from Texas, from Houston. My daughter Sherry and her husband Andy.
Stand up.
Over here, and the little one who can't stand up to himself yet, Callum. I also have a son here. Where did he disappear to?
Right down here.
There's Scott and his girl.
Stand up.
Becky, and the little bitty one back there is my first granddaughter. Leanne. Leanne is, where's she at? Leanne? She's over there playing ball. There's Becky's daughter. So, that's it. I don't know this whole part beside me here.
I'll have to stand up so you can see my political T-shirt here.
Turn this way.
If you can't,
I'll get over here.
yeah, if you can't convince them, they picked the shirt off because I guess they thought it fit. Well, you'll find my kids as you go along. I hope you don't find any extras.
So Sid and Sherry can back up now. Come over to Ed.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. George Jai come off for Ed's brother. Okay, so that makes me sister. And we live at Riverview by Thompson. We farmed for 28 years at Mount Carroll and moved there, and now we go fishing a lot.
Carrie's right. This is Dan and Cindy's through here. And this is Cindy, our daughter-in-law, Dan. And our other son is in here, him and his wife. That's it. Hello.
I'm Bob Uphoff, and thanks to Frank, I'm still waiting at Kelly Park for the picnic this morning. We live here in Morrison. I have an insurance agency here, and we have our son and daughter-in-law up from Houston. Marty's a detective with the Houston Police, and our daughter-in-law is a teacher in high school. And this is Code, our one and only grandson.
Marty, all right. I'll back over the other side. Here, actually, did we get interrupted with Hazel there? I'm sorry.
I got Sherry.
Did you get that?
Oh, I forgot my wife.
So even though you may have been introduced or pointed to
From Scotland, so if you hear a strange accent, you'll know where he's from. This is our first one, Callum. He's 7 months old, and Callum is a good Scottish name. That's where it came from. And we live in Houston. Next.
Well, like Dad said, I'm his firstborn son, Scott. This is my live-in, Becky. Her daughter, Leanne, from previous marriage. And then over here in the chair, if I can hold her up, that's my first one. Mine was my first daughter. I'm awful damn proud of her, and everybody says she's real cute, and I'm glad to hear it. Now, Mark and Jeff, Mark's down in Corpus Christi. He'll be up next week. He's got one, let's see, 2 boys now. One from a previous marriage, and his wife he's married to now has got a boy from his previous marriage. But then they have another one due in September. And like I said, they'll be up here next week. I don't know how many people here will be able to catch him, but he's awful damn sorry he missed this. Jeff is overseas somewhere. Nobody really knows. I don't know, when's the last time you talked to him?
He went into China.
Is he in China now? Okay, so he's working, and there was just no way for him to get over here to see this, but I'm sure he's sorry he missed it too. I'll pass this on down the line to the next side.
Is that me?
Yeah, you get the Dykema side here.
All of you?
All of it. Let's see how good you do, Steve.
Stand up, right? I'm Steve Dykema. My mother, Pauline, Uncle Frank's sister-in-law. This is my wife, Barb. My oldest son, Bill, his new wife, Teresa. They just come back from their honeymoon. My other son, Joe, he just got back from flood duty. He's in the National Guard, going to college. His girlfriend, Stacy. She's from Atkinson. He's from Galesburg. He's from, Joe's from Kewanee. We're from Kewanee, I'm sorry. This is my youngest, Jenny. She's still at home. I got her do. What are you doing? You're doing so good. This is Steve, that's my brother, and Carol, of course, is my sister. That ties it in a little bit. My mother was Florence's sister, Grandma Brearton. And this is my wife, Sherry, my daughter, Susan, my son, Brack, his wife, Diane, and their little one, Rebecca. We live in Morrison, so we're not too hard to find. We had to come a real long place away, and I'm Art Dykema. So, don't forget about the ones that ain't here. Yeah, I have another son who lives in Clinton. His name is Kevin, and he's married, and he has a boy and a girl. And they live in South Clinton, but he works at Drives in Sandy, yeah, daughter lives in Grand Forks, North Dakota. She's in the Air Force. Her husband, Jim, and she has 2 boys, Anthony and Robert. I just saw Marty a little while ago. His son is Cody Robert, and our grandson is Robert Cody. So we're keeping names rolling.
And this is Alan, our son. His wife, Karen, they live in Aurora. Mama, you know. Here's Sandy, and her 2 little. That's Sarah. Where's Katie? Here's Katie over here.
Looking good.
And my youngest daughter, Jeannie, and her little girl, Lexi. And she lives in Lewiston, Illinois.
Lives where?
In Lewiston.
I'm his oldest boy. I live in Charleston, South Carolina. I work for Grinnell. I got a girlfriend, and she's got 2 boys, but she don't like Northerners, so she stayed home.
I'm Emily Brearton, and I belong to Jeannie, who is Dad's 3rd son, and we're from Richmond Heights, which is a suburb of Cleveland, Ohio. And Jean's a school teacher with the Euclid school system, and I just retired, as I say, quit, as he said, from being a bank manager for 20 years.
Hey, happy retired.
She earned it, babe. She earned it.
Thank you, thank you.
Always slip across the table into Bob and Ruby then.
Oh, Bob James, I'm no relation to any of them. Oh, my mom goes.
Well, I know for all the Brearton boys, the James's kids are like older brothers and sisters, completely.
Right. Yes, that's my little boy, Mike. My only boy, and his wife, Lisa. We just come across the creek. She's a showgirl in horse drive, right, Lisa?
Yeah. I was Frank's oldest. And by our first marriage, I had Joyce, Judy, Jim, Jerry, and Jenny, which they're not here except for Jim. There's cabins all across the country. Joyce is in Italy. Judy's in Kansas. Jim, of course, is the third one. He's here. Jerry is on a broken down ship in Florida right now. And Janny is in Mississippi. So we're really scattered. And Bill, we got little Bill here. This is the number 6 guy, and this belongs to Barb and I. Where's Barb at? She's
running the camera.
Okay, so number 6 for me, number 2 for her. Is that about it?
Yep, I think your crown is going on.
Okay, got to finish eating.
And Janie?
I'm Janie Brearton, and I'm married to CPA. My brother sees. We're from Tennessee. We're from Tennessee.
When you only have one sister, you're lucky to get one like her.
You're up, Gene. Well, as usual, Emily's talked for me already. She is unemployed.
I'll kill him.
She figured out how to pay the bills. She and Linda have been out spending my money. Yeah, they do a good job.
All right, Linda.
I don't know why you have to come to Cleveland to buy a sofa. From Cleveland to Morrison to buy a sofa. I'll never figure that out.
Linda's fault.
Yeah. But I am number 3 son, and been out of here for 25 years. And always enjoy coming back. I have a daughter, Gina, who's back in Cleveland with a couple daughters. And Emily has also 2 daughters back in Cleveland. None of them can make this trip. Probably couldn't understand it anyway.
And a grandson, don't forget Brian.
Right, grandson. And that's it, I guess. Finally got everybody here today.
And Max, that's right.
And Max.
Don't forget the cat.
All right. Yeah, I can forget the cat.
No, you can't.
All right, we get the...
Frank and Florence were my first cousins, so all these kids are second cousins. This is my husband, Charles. He's an operating engineer, still working, although he could retire. He still does the job. This is number 2 daughter, Kathy. Number 3 daughter, Diana. Granddaughter, Amy Durwood, and Rachel Durwood, and grandson, Eric Durwood. This is number 4 daughter, and last, and her, Beverly, Calorie, and her little one, Bridget. And the oldest daughter, Marie Durwood, and her husband had other plans today, so they went with her. And I'm retired a long time ago.
Still spending money, but still working.
I'm Joanne Davis, and Nancy is my sister. This is my youngest son, Daryl. Brian took off. This is my husband, Neil. Carrie is behind the camera. And Lori lives in Rockwood and has 2 children. And the little one was sick today, so they didn't make it. Carrie has a daughter 3 years old. She's on her way home from Florida, been with the other grandparents at Disney World. And her husband is driving limousine for R.C. Smith, and so he had to go into Chicago to pick up somebody today. And I have 5 grandchildren, and none of them are here.
Yay.
And I'm ready to retire.
Maybe you can pull it back on Frank again here. His birthday is today. He's 28. Who else?
No, I don't.
Peggy's birthday celebrating today.
There's your sister Peggy, right?
Yeah, she is my sister.
Yeah. But is there anybody else here who has a birthday today or like this weekend? Okay. So great. We want to recognize them. Happy birthdays too. And then for Dad, I don't know. You know, there's just not a hell of a lot you can put into words, but he's just a great old man.
I built a round straw pile one time. People used to stop along the road and take a picture of it. I went out one morning and here's a great big flag clear up on top.
So I come home from Mount Carroll one day, and we built a machine shed out along the road. So what the hell is that? It says the old grouch lives here. So I had some bulldozing done, and there was a tree up there. And honest to God, those limbs on that tree, some of them were very small, others were big. The sentinels come out, and here's a big picture of the tire tree. I looked at that thing, and I said, "That's that tree I pulled us out up along the road." I said, "How'd you guys get them tires up there?" "Well, easy."
Yeah, they sent us little kids up there because the damn branch was about ready to fall.
Okay, you know all about it.
Yeah, me and Mick, we were the only ones light enough not to fall. So Jerry said, "Go on up there, take that tire with you."
Some of them. You could go on, but the further you went, the worse it'd get, so we better stop.
The thing about living with Frank is that it's always been the unusual. And I mean, that says it in a nutshell. And the round bale pile, the tires in the tree, you go on and on and on. But I think probably each one of us has something we might want to say. So, Hazel.
He came to work for us when he was 15, 1928. And we've been friends ever since.
Right on.
With my family.
Okay. Except when she's mad at me.
Well, Hazel, thanks for giving him a job. Christ, he may have got back on the train and ended up in Ohio.
I would ask him, "Can you do this?" "Yeah." "Can you do something else on the farm?" "Yeah, I can do anything."
Anything but hang open.
Don't do windows.
Now I know where I got it. I don't like hanging that damn stuff either.
And Frank was our hard man in what, 1931?
Yeah, I was working for you, and I got everybody mad at me because I could take you away from anybody in the family. All I had to do was come through the door and hold my hands out there with Joanne. She got pretty sick when Nancy got pretty sick with pneumonia. That's the first time I ever seen him put a tube in anybody, and, to drain the lung bit out. But they more or less grew up under my supervision. Joanne.
If you grew up under there.
If you ever wanted to see people devour food, you should have been at the Brearton household when the kids all got home from school. Gallons of milk, cookies, and Grandma Smith put the cookies under lock and key was the only way she could keep them in there. Arthur's got it.
I remember one time Grandma Smith put, well, it was really strange because about 3 weeks later they finally found them and they were still in the pan, but nobody could eat any of those.
Oh, God. Who else?
I want Dad to tell, because I don't remember the details about the potato patch. You know what I'm talking about?
I know. I was working in the wire mill and swing shift. So I had the potato patch out there and it got pretty green. So I got out there and I holding a strip maybe 8-10 inches wide that cleaned out the potatoes. But I still had a lot of green to get yet. When I came home, Jack come around and said, "Well, I finished hoeing your potatoes." He did. Them patches of green were still there, but there was no potatoes.
That's the wrong story. The one I wanted you to tell was when you was a hired man somewhere and they wanted you to go out and hoe the potatoes and pull the weeds.
That was a bad deal. I asked the guy how many potatoes he thought he'd get out of there, and I don't know what he told me anymore. And I said, I'll give you $15 for the patch. And he said, okay. And I gave him $15. Now I said, you can go and dig your own damn potatoes. They're mine, I'll give them to you.
That was the story I wanted to tell.
That was the same one, and they had a Cushman engine. This fella I was working for had a Cushman engine, you know. They stood up. Most of the little engines at that time were down, you know, as you run up. This Cushman engine stood up, and he'd put up a line shaft, and it'd run the grinder, run the washing machine, and I got elected to help that old gal do the washing every so often. So I got the thing running, got the motor running, and got the line shaft running, and the damn cat come walking up there. And she was bent over a little bit by the wash tub, and I grabbed the cat's tail and stuck it on the spark plug. He lit right on her rear, and he went right on up over the top. Telling her old man about it, she thought he was going to give me hell. He got him laughing so damn hard. Just one of them things.
Well, I'll go out and I'll mow, and he says when Frank gets up, he can do the melting, and then he can come on down and leave me. Well, Frank didn't wake up, and didn't wake up pretty soon. The boss came in, Art's dad. Done. Frank was up in bed. So he said, well, don't look like you need me, and he turned around and left. And so I called Frank after a while, and he got up and didn't know.
Well, at least she didn't let me down.
Maybe that's why he kind of come back home.
Yeah. Yes, the can was leaking all the way around, and he damn near got over to the fire with it. If he'd got into that fire, that thing would have followed right around into that trailer. Anyway, I give him help. Then he got mad and he said, I'm going to walk home, and I said, get going. So he took off down the road. Augusta, I was married to Augusta, and she went and picked him up and took him home. I wouldn't have hell he could have walked. Next time he was up there, he wanted to know where Grandpa's axe was. He said, I don't know what's in the trailer somewhere. What do you want with it? He said, I'm going to cut his damn feet off.
No sense of humor, huh?
Well, at least I was starting at his feet. The guy at Jack's, of course, makes a living as a mechanic. Dad always did quite a bit of mechanical work. And a lot of you, all of you people I know are familiar when you turn your key off in your car now, your steering wheel locks. Well, hell, that ain't nothing new because we had one like that in a 1939 Buick. Yeah. The steering wheel locked on it, and the old man thought it was broke. So him and Jack proceeded to tear that car all to hell. They got the whole front end of that car tore off, and probably Tom or I don't know, somebody was in the car. In the meantime, we found accidentally how to open that switch back up. Well, they got the whole front of the car tore off. They took the top off the gearbox, and here's that steering gear in there going back and forth. They looked at that, and what the hell can that be? They looked up through the windshield, and here's that little kid in there driving. How the hell did you get that steering wheel to turn? Well, we just flipped this lever up. There we go. They had the whole front of the car tore off. Mechanics.
Jane, don't you have something to tell about it? Well, it's obvious, I'm sure, that I've been in awe of both my brothers ever since I can remember.
You have to go back a long ways for her to tell it.
I think one of them tried to smother me once, but that's
I was 14 years old when I left home, and she was 4. So we didn't have many years together as kids. Never, the whole damn family's nuts.
And we came by it honestly.
My dad and mother was uptown in Albert Lee, Minnesota. And they were walking home, and there was a dog following them. Got a little further down the line, mother looked back, and here's another dog passing. They had 4 or 5 dogs coming along back there, and mother couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. Till she looked over, and Dad had slid 3 of them weenies out of the package, and they were swinging along there. Every little ways they'd pick up another dog.
The afternoon, we skate maybe from 2 to 5 or 1 to 4, and we go home. And we were skating there one day, and all at once he was over taking his skates off. And we all said, "What the hell are you doing? You know, we got another hour and a half. Come on, we're going home." "Well, we not. Come on, we're going home." No explanation. So we got home early, and we had just come in the door. The phone rang. Jerry was calling from Norfolk, Virginia. Pretty soon the phone rang. Jack was calling from Cedar Rapids. Pretty soon the phone rang. Gene was calling from Macomb. No reason, no birthday, no holiday, nothing special. But somehow I knew they were going to call. And all 3 of them did from different parts of the country. Later on, I went to boot camp. All I knew, I was going to come home sometime close to Christmas. And as it turned out, it would have been like the 20th of December. I decided not to come home. I went home to Racine, Wisconsin with a buddy of mine that I met there at boot camp. I called the neighbor across the road on the other farm to tell my dad I'm not coming home this Friday. I'll be home sometime in the next few days. And that was the whole message. I could have come in by bus to Morrison, bus to Clinton. I could have flown into Sterling. I could have bused to Mount Carroll. I could have flown to Clinton. I could have come in any variety of ways on any number of days. As it turned out, we came in by train into Savannah, and I had this buddy of mine from Racine with me. And he's saying, "Well, how's he going to find us? How are we going to get to your place? How are we going to da-da-da-da-da?" We stepped off the train. Here he was, walking up the platform. I can't explain that stuff, but he's always done it. Another time, we were out shocking oats. Jerry was in the Navy in Norfolk, and he was supposed to be coming home sometime soon. There again, all at once, "Come on, where are we going?" "Come on!" We got in the truck and headed down 78. Here he was, walking along hitchhiking in his little sailor suit. I don't know how he does that stuff, but he's always done it. He's always done it. Probably the nicest thing, every time I brought a girlfriend home, or a buddy, or a wife, there's been a few of those, they'd always say the same thing: "Your dad is so cool. I wish my dad was like that." And that to me was the best thing of all, that everybody that I met, brought home, they all said, "I wish my dad was like that."
He ran a few of them off though too, I think. You come out with that can full of, the hell was that thing with all the springs in it? It said peanut brittle on it.
Peanut brittle.
If that didn't get him, he brought out the big plastic pile of dog poop. Took that outside and come back in and got into the peanut butter with the same knife. That got rid of a few of them.
Or he walked through the living room with holy underwear and raised his leg.
I think it's a good time to quit.
The only thing I think we ever got out of him, he always used to accuse us kids of farting while he was watching the ball game. And we told him it was a dog, and he didn't believe it. One day we all left, and it stunk, and he turned around, and there wasn't nobody there but him and the dog. We finally got him.
I got it right.
I don't know how far it could deep you up to down here.
Well, I'll let you know.
When they used to do these girls with the off-shoulder formal, when we get them flowers, we'd always put our hand in behind to make sure we didn't step on them.
Good idea.
That would look pretty on his black shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, she stopped talking to me.
It's too deep in the stem.
I gotta get it up here.
Probably trying to stick it to your own finger.
I'd rather stick my own finger there.
Poking through a wire stem.
There we go.
Well, it starts to stay there.
You got a few cards there, old man.
Oh, me, oh my. I don't know.
What we found out is they were watching TV with a damn poor picture. They didn't have remote control, and they couldn't play video. So we set them up to spend a lot of good hours together in front of a good TV with a good picture, remote control, and a VCR.
And a sleep timer.
Oh, and a timer so the damn thing shuts off after they go to anything you want to say about it?
Well, just Dan always says, we got a goddamn thing we need. If we want something, we'll go out and buy it. Well, I've been in this family 9 years, and I kept waiting, and he still had that lousy TV. So I got tired of waiting, and I said, okay, we got an idea. Let's go for it. This is from the whole Brearton.
Beautiful. Almost every night. Almost on Monday.
Almost on
Tuesday. Almost on.
She probably almost bought you a dozen condoms, too.
I said, we still wake up 3 or 4 times a night. She said, what the hell are you doing? I said, we just look at each other and laugh. Yeah, you got to read the rest of that card. I was interested in that, and you called me off.
All right, here we go. So I could have sent you flowers while they would have just wilted away, or I could have sent you on a trip to the Bahamas, but eventually the tan would fade, and so would the memory. So I decided the card would be the best gift. After all, presents fade in time, but this card goes on and on. Have a great one, the Bielema's.
This was from Charlie and Nancy. It says, happy birthday to someone who's nicer than nice, kinder than kind, and greater than great. And one thing about it, I can read it. And older than hell. Have a great day. Oh, like, you ever lose your sense of humor, you ain't got nothing left. I didn't think I'd ever live long enough to see that. It's amazing, it's incredible, it's unbelievable. Some of these pictures look like it. Jack and Barb, another year older, and still have your original parts. Anybody want to borrow a bunch of old used machinery? Whew. This one says grandpa. That ought to be it. You know you're getting old when you've got what it takes, but can't remember what it's for. Yeah, glad we were able to all be here. We wouldn't have missed it for anything. Yeah, Andy and Colin. Thank you, Sherry. Birthdays are like cheap underwear. They keep creeping up on you. Try not to think about it and have it happen. Steve and Barb. Yeah, that's a pretty good start. He's got a biggie here. Oh,
Frank, wait a minute. Frank, wait a minute. Wilma wants to read some of that to you.
Okay, Wilma.
this is good. I don't know whether I wanted to be in this.
Oh, good.
She's liable to cook up anything.
Well,
Oh, you did this. Huh?
yeah. There were some things in here for people born before 1945, and that's Frank and me and a lot of others. They are survivors. Consider the changes. Consider the changes that we have witnessed. We were born before television, before penicillin, before polio shots, frozen foods, Xerox, plastic, contact lenses, frisbees, and the pill. We were before radar, credit cards, split atoms, laser beams, and ballpoint pens. Before pantyhose, dishwashers, clothes dryers, electric blankets, air conditioners, drip dry clothes, and before man walked on the moon. We got married first and then lived together. How quaint can you be? In our time, closets were for clothes, not for coming out of. Bunnies were small rabbits, and rabbits were not Volkswagens. Designer jeans were scheming girls named Jean, and having a meaningful relationship meant getting along with our cousins. We thought fast food was what you ate during Lent, and outer space was back of the Riviera theaters. We were before house husbands, gay rights, computer dating, dual careers, and commuter marriages. We were before daycare centers, group therapy, and nursing homes. We never heard of FM radio, tape decks, electronic typewriters, artificial hearts, word processors, yogurt, and guys wearing earrings. For us, time sharing meant togetherness, not computers or condominiums. A chip meant a piece of wood. Hardware meant hardware, not software. Wasn't even a word. Back then, made in Japan meant junk, and the term making out referred to how much you did on an exam. Pizzas, McDonald's, and instant coffees were just unheard of. We hit the scene where there was 5 and 10 cent stores where you bought things for 5 and 10 cents. Sanders or Wilson sold ice cream cones for a nickel or a dime. For 1 nickel, you could ride a streetcar, make a phone call, buy a Pepsi, or enough stamps to mail 1 letter and 2 postcards. You could buy a new Chevy Coupe for $600. But who could afford one? A pity, too, because gas was 11 cents a gallon. In our day, grass was mowed. Coke was a cold drink, and pot was something you cooked in. Rock music was a grandma's lullaby, and aides were helpers in the principal's office. We were certainly not before the difference between the sexes was discovered, but we were surely before the sex change. We made do with what we had, and we were the last generation that was so dumb as to think you needed a husband to have a baby. No wonder we were so confused, and there is such a generation gap as today. But we've survived. What better right to celebrate? And then the card, it tells a little bit about 80 years ago. It tells that the population in 1913 was 97,255,000. Today we are 254,283,000. A three-bedroom home in 1913 cost $2,625. Today, a 3-bedroom home costs $99,800. The average income in 1913 was $517. Today, it's $30,056. The price of a new Ford in 1913 was $600. Today, it's $13,500. Gasoline in 1913 was 35 cents a gallon. Today, it's $1.18.
Bread, 1 pound loaf, 6 cents in 1913. Today it's 73 cents. A gallon of milk in 1913 was 34 cents. Today it's $2.72. First class postage in 1913 was 2 cents. Today it's 29 cents. The president 80 years ago was Woodrow Wilson. The vice president was Thomas Riley Marshall. And there are a lot of other facts on here too. But Frank, we've seen a lot in our lifetime, haven't we?
A lot of changes.
Yeah.
And that brings me to a story that I heard. I was at my 50th class reunion the other day, and we had a ball. Anyhow, they told a story about 3 sisters who lived in a house, and one sister went upstairs to take a bath, and she put her foot in the tub, and she said, "Well, was I getting in or was I getting out?" The other sister downstairs said, "She's been up there an awful long time. I better go upstairs and see what's going on." So she started going up the steps, and she said, "Was I going upstairs or was I coming down?" The third sister said, "I sure hope I don't get like those other 2. I better knock on wood." Is that the front door or the back door? Then there was a woman who went into the bar, and she said, "I would like a water glass full of bourbon and a shot glass full of water." The bartender said, "I don't think I heard that right." And she said that was right. "I'll have a shot glass full of water and a water glass full of bourbon." And the fellow said, "That just doesn't make sense." And he said, "At my age, I can hold my bourbon better than I can my water."
Some things sound wrong, but they're really right. Here's a nice card from Edward and his wife Dykamo. "Happy birthday, just wanted to razz you a little." And he razzed me with a $10 check. He's a pretty good-looking guy.
We can ask Wilma what $10 would buy today.
Yeah. Well, here's a lot of pictures here. Some of the folks here in Morrison, Illinois want to know why you're having another birthday. I wondered that myself. And what you did with the one you had last year. Happy birthday anyway, Art and Sherry Decker. That's a cute card. My God, where are you getting these things? On the tree?
No, they're recycled paper.
Well, the dinosaurs? No, this is a frog, I guess. I wouldn't say you're old. But if you were a lizard, you'd be a belt by now. Lyle and Irene. Leave it to Lyle, he'd figure that out. And after you got it, you want you to feed it warming. Yeah. Having a happy birthday is a lot like eating M&M's. You enjoy them a lot more when you don't count how many you've had.
Yeah.
I don't know. Cindy or Coonley, isn't it? Huh?
That's from Ruth.
Oh, Ruth.
All right.
Was standing up in the cemetery one day, and Ruth was standing in front of me, and I tapped her on the shoulder. I don't know what I said to her, something. She turned around and Merle, and she said, "Who thinks he knows me?" Remember that?
Yeah, oh, that's right.
That old fool thinks he knows me. Well, ain't that something? I don't know. What you can say is say.
What you want to do with it, Bill?
Why don't you look up so we can get a good picture, Frank?
And they
Look up and...
Oh.
There you go.
Howard?
Howard got over it. Like the square triangle.
Dad over there.
It's been over 30 years.
I got a bunch of slides in the beach. Order and stack them up and then tubes out over.
Check out here.
All right, that's perfect.
Tell me there's only one way to find a 6-foot letter.
Oh,